Chapter 16, Falsely Accused. You slam your fist against the locked door of Nick's office. The office Dante and Farah just shut you inside. Let me out of here. I'm not the killer. But no one answers. You can faintly hear the other voices outside the door, but they're beginning to fade down the hall. You will all regret this. You hear murmurs, and from down the hall Dante's familiar voice, but there's an icy coldness to it. Great way to want to convince people you're not a murderer, Finn. Talking like a mad scientist. Great way to want to convince people. There is scattered laughter as the voices and footsteps fade away down the hall, and your heart sinks. I trusted you. Did that mean anything? But there's no reply. The hall outside is utterly silent. You're alone with the anger and betrayal brimming in your chest. Then fine. I'm getting out of here the hard way. You back up halfway across the room, then ram your shoulder in the door with all your strength. It rattles slightly, but doesn't budge. It looked easier in the movies. Why'd you have to make your office so sturdy, Nick? You bang on the door until your hands are aching and bruised, but eventually there's no denying it. No one is coming for you. You slump against the back of the door. I know some of the guests never trusted me, but Dante and Farah, how could they? I can't believe I trusted them. I get that other guests fell for the world's most obviously planted murder weapon, but I thought they knew better than that. Talk about fair weather friends. Guess it's up to me to get out and catch the killer on my own then, before it's too late. You glance around the room. The door is clearly a non-starter, but there are plenty of nooks and crannies in the wall. You built some security or secret rooms all over the house, Nick. Any chance you're hiding a secret exit I don't know about? After a quick scan, you consider one of the office chairs in front of Nick's desk and a metal bookend thin enough to slide between the door and the wall. Hit the door with the chair, slide the bookend between the lock and the door. The bookend easily slots between the door and the wall on the same side as the handle. So far so good. But as you slide it down, trying to get in between the locking mechanism and the handle, you meet resistance. Ow! You try your best to wiggle it, but the sharp edges of the bookend dig painfully into your fingers. And the door is locked with a bolt. Of course, because none of this gets to be easy. Time to figure out a plan B. No, wait, I guess this will be C? Return the bookends to its shelf and begin to pace around the room, weighing your options. A portrait of Nick hangs on one of the walls. He's smiling happily as if urging you on. Thanks, Nick. Damn it, Nick, this is a mess. Everyone except John apparently thinks I killed you and Madani, and now I'm locked in your office. I know you think anything is possible, omnia possibilia, sunt, or whatever, but I don't think it's physically possible to get out of this. And with a click and a dramatic creak, one of the panels in the bookcase swings open to reveal a hidden compartment. No way. A voice-activated secret safe. You stole that right from my last chapter of Murder by Misdirect, you nerd. Nick's painting. Can't reply, but you feel some bittersweet amusement mingling with the curiosity as you peer inside the safe. It's a mix of personal items set atop a few documents, a small jewelry box, a handful of pictures, and a piece of robotic equipment. There's jewelry, pictures, robot parts. You pick up a robotic eye, and as you turn it over in your hands, you're struck by deja vu. Wait, I remember him building this in college. This was his first robot. It lost a fight to one of the local stray cats, bumped into walls half the time, but this was his first step towards making the whoosh. Jewelry box. The moment you pick it up, it's obvious what's inside. You flip open the box to see a diamond ring with the words engraved inside the band. For my angel. Oh, Nick, you never told me you were thinking of proposing to her. And that just makes things worse. There's a folded piece of paper tucked inside the box's lid. You unfold it to find a receipt. He bought this 6 months ago and just sat on it? That must have been before he realized Angelina was seeing someone else. I wonder if he ever realized it was Liz. I'll look at the pictures. There's a stack of 3 photos, each with Nick's familiar handwriting on the back. The first features a teenage Nick wearing a crumpled white shirt, black tie, he's holding up a trophy, beaming at the camera. First place at the county's Young Inventors competition. God, he was so young. The next picture is also hanging in your apartment. It's you and Nick at the first book signing. You flip it open and read the note. So dang proud of Finn. Bought the first copy of her soon-to-be bestseller. Now that'll be worth bank someday. I didn't know you kept a copy of this. Your heart aches as you flip to the last photo, which features a group of people laughing and chatting around Nick's pool. It looks recent. Taken sometime within the past year, you recognize some of the faces in it, including John, Dante, and Farah. The whole gang. I hope they'll understand what I have planned. If not, well, at least we had good times. Sorry, Nick. One of them understood even less than you'd hoped. Setting the items aside, you turn to the documents beneath them. Let's see what you're about. The first one looks official. It's full of numbers, abbreviations, tables, but as you work your way down it, you realize what you're looking at. This is a statement of intent for how he wanted all of his money and assets to be reallocated. Jeez, Nick. I knew you were rich, but that is a lot of zeros. Most of his wealth is being donated to various charities, many of which you recognize. This is new, though. What's the Renata Beach Revitalization Project? A quick search on your phone pulls up an article about a familiar chemical waste spill and an underfunded local effort to clean it up. This is Jun's hometown. Nick was going to bankroll the cleanup efforts. And there's more. Beneath that line is a specific sum allocated to the Seong family. For healthcare coverage and community distribution, he wanted to give them 8 figures to pay for any medical costs in their town? The end of the document covers Nick's affair with Whoosh, including his plans for his company shares. Wait, he was going to sell his shares publicly? As the company's founder, he would have made a majority. What would that have done to Whoosh if he'd gotten actually... And then you see the last clause at the bottom that looks hastily added, but it's notarized, and below it you recognize Nick's signature. These financial changes are scheduled to take effect only after I publicly announce them. An event planned for April 15th of this year. However, despite my lawyer's advice that this is an unnecessary and melodramatic precaution, I'm adding an additional clause. Should I pass away before making said announcement, this redistribution of assets should go into effect immediately upon my death. This clause has been notarized to declare that I make this addendum willingly and of sound mind and body to do so. So he knew he was going to be killed. Or planned on him. Nick Gallant. So they're not gonna get money. No matter what. They're all screwed. The killer didn't think this one out. You clutch the paper with both hands, reeling with shock, relief, and most of all, pride. Oh my god, you planned for this. Someone killed you to stop from getting rid of the money. But if we get this document to a lawyer, it'll still happen. His lawyer probably already has it. Nick. So they killed you for nothing. All this happened because someone wanted to stop you from giving away their golden ticket. If they'd known about your backup plan. You can't finish that sentence out loud. Nick's painting gazes down at you from the wall, still as ever, but its expression somehow seems more melancholy. God, Nick. I wish you'd told me. But I'll get this where it needs to go for you. I promise. The document looks like it's been folded before, so you carefully refold it along those same creases and stow it in your pocket. But with it tucked away, you get a good look at the last thing in the safe, a folded handwritten letter with 2 words on its back. For Finn. You left a letter for me? There's no answer, of course. The only sound is the echo of your voice and the ticking of a clock on the wall. You must have left it for a reason. Read it. Deal. Despite the sudden lump in your throat, you unfold the letter and read it. You can almost hear the words in Nick's voice, almost picture him sitting down to write it. Now, playing as Nick. You sit at your desk, surrounded by puzzle design sheets, notes for your murder mystery party. It's only a few days before everyone gets together. But instead of reviewing your party plans, since rereading them a fifth time isn't going to change anything, you're writing a letter to your closest and oldest friend. Hey Finn, how's it going? There's very little chance you'll actually read this, but just in case you are, let me start by saying I'm proud of you. I really am. I hope that doesn't sound like I'm talking down to you. What right do I have to be proud, right? But as long as I've known you, writing has been your thing. You used to dream about getting an agent, selling a single manuscript. And now look at you, with a whole incredible series to your name, all because you never gave up on that dream. You're the most determined person I've ever known. The best friend any guy could ask for. Pause in thought, tapping your pen in place out of habit, leaving behind a series of dots in the margins. If I can be honest, which is the whole point of me writing this, your friendship saved me, Finn. I've been struggling. I know, poor billionaire, right? But the more Whoosh has blown up, the more I've lost sight of what really matters in life. For a long time, I was so happy to be living the dream, my own company, changing lives, riches I never could have dreamed of. But you were the only person who saw what was all the yes men, lavish parties, and endless meetings hid from me. The toll it took on my health, my relationship, my friends, and most importantly, all the waste. You glance around the immaculate office you designed for yourself, and instead of comfort, you feel only guilt. You were the only one who had the courage to tell me I didn't need all of this. That no one does. Writing the next words isn't easy, but you always found the courage to put your words into action. So, I'm finalizing my plans to give away my wealth. All the yachts, mansions, Whoosh shares, all the zeros in my bank accounts. I have a few personal effects to sell that'll keep me going for a little while, and you know me, I'll find something new to do to get by. But it's about time this money got to do something good in the hands of people who actually need it. You pause, the smile on your face fading as you think through the fork in the road ahead of you. Walking away from the company I built isn't easy, I won't lie. But Whoosh isn't the company I started anymore. And I'm not the right guy to run it. I've made my peace with that. I just worry what'll happen to the people who rely on me. I've supported all my friends with my fortune. Some would say too much, but without me, some of them will have to either sink or learn to swim. Even if it's their own fault, part of me can't stop worrying about them. But more than anything else, I'm afraid someone close to me will do something dangerous when they hear I'm giving this all up. I've put all my nearest and dearest in my will, and, well, this is a big change. You smile wistfully at one of the books lining the shelves of your office, one with a familiar name on its spine. Maybe I've just read too many of your murder mysteries. Hopefully I can say all of this to you in person and burn this letter later. But if I'm not being paranoid, know that you're the one person I trust to figure this out as it all goes sideways. You'll have my back, right? Now, playing as Finn. You stare down at a signature at the end of the letter. Just 2 words. Love, Nick. Nick, I've always got your back. I'll catch whoever did this. I swear it. And when I do, I'm gonna make sure they pay. You fold the letter back up, more determined than ever to solve this mystery. But as you slip the letter into your pocket, something sharp jabs into the palm of your hand. Ow, what the... You pull the object out that just poked you. A screwdriver. How'd you get there? Let me guess, one of the 2 people that put you in this room, which is either Farah or Dante, put this screwdriver in your pocket. I don't remember picking you up. But you might be exactly what I needed. You cross to the door and examine the handle's locking mechanism. Yeah, it's just got a few Phillips head screws. I can work with that. You remove all the screws you can, loosen all the ones you can, and the handle still fits fixed in place, but there's a noticeable jiggle to it. When I spent all those nights watching lockpicking videos, I never thought I'd have to bust a door down, but the principle's still the same. If I can break the handle, I should be able to slide the bolt out. I just need to... You pick up one of the office chairs. Leverage. Sorry if you like these, Nick. You give his portrait a quick nod and lift the chair with all of your strength. I'll swing it at the door handle. Duh. You aim the unwieldy chair as best as you can, bringing it down towards the loosened handle. And snap, the whole mechanism breaks off. Ah, take that, physics. You push the door open to find Jung, standing on the other side with the fireman's axe in hand. He slowly lowers it. Finn, I'm here to rescue you. Jun, I could kiss you. You step up to meet Jun in the doorway, and he cups a hand on the back of your neck, pulling you into a kiss. Finn. He kisses you again and again, then finally, with visible effort, pulls away. That was a hell of a hello. You can't blame me for wanting to thank a guy after he came charging to my rescue, even if the rescue wasn't strictly necessary. I noticed. Getting to see you was, though. I'm just glad you're alright. Jun steps through the broken door and into the office. Looks like it's down to the two of us to catch the killer. Dante and Farah are... We can't count on them anymore. Agreed. They literally locked me up. And if they could have, I think they would have thrown away the key. John nods grimly. Dante gave it to Crystal, which is, almost as bad. I'm sorry, Finn. I expected the better from both of them, especially Farah, but at least now we've seen their true colors. Well, let's get to the conference room from Nick's game. Look for any evidence that can point us to the killer once and for all. Actually, in my professional opinion as a bodyguard, we should take care of that first. He points down at your bruised and slightly bloodied knuckles, which ache from pounding on the locked door. It's nothing, I'll be fine. I'm sure you will, but I've punched a few walls in my younger days, and plenty of punching bags since. I know how much that can smart. I also know where to get some first aid supplies. Give me a minute to patch you up, and then we can get moving. Yeah, Dad. You'll have to make it fast, though. Not a problem. John checks out the door for threats and beckons you towards the next room over. We should be safe in here. Inside a dimly lit parlor, John wordlessly points to a couch, and you take a seat. He reaches into a drawer in a nearby end table to pull out a first aid kit. He knew right where that was. Let me see your hand. You put your hand out as John kneels beside you, examining the cuts along your knuckles. You seem like you've done this before. Is this an old Green Beret skill? Thankfully, these aren't the kinds of injuries that need battlefield treatment. This is more of a Big Brother skill. He pulls some alcohol wipes from the kit. My parents worked long hours to provide for my sisters and me, so they couldn't always be around for us. And when you're the oldest and you've got 3 rowdy sisters running around, let's just say I learned how to use a first aid kit early on. So, I'm in the hands of a seasoned professional. Sounds like you and your sisters were pretty self-sufficient. That's how our parents raised us. When life gets tough, you roll with the punches, dust yourself off, keep going. John starts cleaning the scrapes on your hand. Your parents sound very practical. He chuckles. They'd be flattered if you told them that, and yeah, they are. They weren't always around as much as they wanted to be, but they still found ways to show us that they cared. My dad used to say that since they couldn't always be there to pick us up, it was important we learned how to do it ourselves. I have them to thank for being able to handle all the bumps in the road that brought me here. I can see that. Here, can you hold this in place for me? He spread some gauze over the cut and gently set your other hand on top of it. Sure. As you hold it, he gets out some other wrappings to fix the gauze in place. Your sisters were lucky to grow up with a brother like you. Well, it's not like I was going to stand around and watch them cry after all their roller skating accidents. Roller skating accidents? Okay, it's confirmed. Everyone in your family is way cooler than me. Oh, yeah, they've all been obsessed with skating since they were little. They get that from our mom. Hana, the oldest, used to love showing off. She never let helmets and knee pads ruin her style. So she went skating around the rink with no knee pads? She's cooler and braver than me. Only until she inevitably fell and skinned a knee. Huge fountains of tears every time. I hope she let you take care of her. Only if there was no one else around. She was supposed to be too cool for her older brother. Never mind that she wanted this one skater boy to come help her when she fell, so if I did it, then... Oh, you were messing up her game. Unintentionally, but yeah, I was a terrible wingman. John finishes wrapping the bandage around your hand and stands up next to you. How does that feel? Does anything else hurt? Technically, yeah, I was just about to say, my shoulder does, a little. I might have tried to Kool-Aid Man through the office door earlier, unsuccessfully. Yes! Kool-Aid Man reference. I gathered that part. Hold still for a second. Tell me if there's any pain. You steady yourself as he gently presses his hands against your shoulder and then, holding your wrist, gently lifts your arm up and down. It feels a little sore, but that's about it. Good. There may be some bruising, but nothing more than that. Phew. I'll keep the arm after all. Thankfully. You're not the first person to injure themselves in there. You know, Nick always was testing some new prototype or another. Testing, as in creatively endangering himself and any flammable objects within 10 feet. Yeah. There was a whole lab in college that he got banned from. Something about a 5-pound block of sodium and lab sprinklers? John smiles wistfully. That sounds like Nick. All in all, I think I spent more time protecting him from himself than from other people. I hope he told you how much he appreciated it. He nods. He did. And he also swore by this ointment to help with any minor injury. Please tell me it's not one of Crystal's. That would mean one of her products actually works, so no. But there's some in the first aid kit. Here. He pulls your top aside, just enough to expose a bit of your shoulder, where he rubs a bead of ointment into it with a firm but gentle touch. How are you feeling now? Like I could bust down another door. Thanks for the help. Don't mention it. You step towards him, and his breath catches a little as you meet his gaze. You smile inviting, voice low. Come here. His mouth curves into a knowing grin, and he leans in to meet you in a kiss. You wrap your arms around his waist, pulling him closer as you savor the warmth of his touch. He parts your lips a little with his own, deepening the kiss. When you finally pull back, he smiles at you, his voice slightly husky. That was one hell of a thank you. You earned it. If we didn't have a crime scene to get to, I'd lock us in this room for the next hour. Just the next hour. Aw, come on now. And I'd let you, but we should probably get going. John presses one last kiss to your lips and then nods, and with that, the two of you head out into the halls. The upstairs hallways are thankfully quiet for now. Once the others realize I'm out of Nick's office, things will get messy. Then let's keep away from the public spaces. I know the fastest way to that conference room. You nod, and the two of you head towards the nearest stairwell. You've just reached the first step when you hear voices approaching from below. Damn it, someone's coming. Let's surprise them. You just jump out with a fireman's axe. Hello! Let's hide. You and John duck into the nearest doorway, holding your breath as the voices approach. It's just not easy. I felt like I'm about to be sick for the last half hour. You can use my end suite then. If you really... As the voices draw even closer, you realize you're standing in a familiar doorway. John, isn't this entrance to Farah's... Before you can finish that thought, Farah and Dante round the corner to see you. John, Finn. Quick, John, spring the fireman's axe. Yep. Hi, traders. Did you really think locking me in an office was gonna work? Or that I'd just leave her there? Dante holds up his hands in a placating gesture. Hang on, if you'll just let us explain. I hoped me slipping you that screwdriver would have made our intentions clear. Our? You put the screwdriver in my pocket. Yep. That's why I shoved you inside. I had to get close enough to do a handoff without the others suspecting anything. If you really did help Finn get out, that counts for something. But he was pretty quick to jump ship. John fixes Dante with a steely look, and Dante winces. I'm sorry, but the moment Crystal accused you, I knew we were just a few steps away from the others locking all of us up. Bro, it would have literally been 4v4. I have had better odds alone in, PvP games. I did the math, realized that if they thought one of us was on their side, I could let you all out if worst came to worst. And it's a good thing he did. After we left, Crystal nearly convinced the others to lock Jun up for defending you. He glanced at Jun for confirmation, and he slowly nods. Yeah, but they gave Crystal the key. That's true. I'm sorry I lied to you, Finn. It's not a skill I like using on people I care about. But someone down there is a killer, and the others were being led on, so I had to do something. The guilt in his eyes is too palpable to ignore. They were also curious about what I was doing with you. Oh, but I pretended you'd con me into coming along because you were cute. Which is not untrue. So this was all an act? No, I've already kissed John. I've made my choice. I should have known. That'll teach me for being friends with an actor and a world-class thief. There are worse ways to be lied about than people who care about you pretending they don't to save the day. Wow, Farah. Way to go dark. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I ruining the mood in the wake of the double homicide? Fair point, but I'm glad you're out now, Finn. I hope you won't hold it against us. Don't give me a choice right now. Under the circumstances, I can forgive you for locking me up first and explaining later. You glance around at your allies, feeling lighter at the thought of them beside you. Whatever happens next, I'm with you through and through, Finn. Oh, now you're with me. So am I. It's the four of us until the end of the line. And you know I've got your back, Finn, always. Good, because we may have to make some tough plays to catch the skiller. But no matter what we do, or say in front of the others, this right here is the truth, okay? Amen to that. But speaking of others, you should know that catching the killer did just get more complicated. Since everyone's so sure you're the killer, they let Steve out of the billiards room. Great. Does anyone have news that's not bad? Me, actually. I found this hidden compartment in Nick's office. He lifts the statement of intent from your pocket and unfolded it to show them. He left me a letter, kind of a goodbye, and this was in there, plans for all of his assets. It sounds like he was going to sell his Whoosh shares publicly. I saw him putting this away the day of the party. He told me about some of the other plans, but not selling his majority shares. Interesting. Does anyone else ever have Whoosh shares? I mean, Liz told me she got some as part of her salary. Pete obviously has a bunch, and Angelina most certainly does. So that puts a dead eye on all three of them. Back to Liz and Angelina! There's also a good chunk of money going to help with the cleanup in your hometown, John. John takes the letter to read it for himself, and he lets out a low sigh. Nick, you could have just told me. But most importantly, read this. You point to the last line, the one that changes everything. Should I pass away before making said announcement, this redistribution of assets should go into effect immediately upon my death. Oh, Nicky, you brilliant, brilliant boy. They didn't stop you after all. But John has gone utterly still as he stares at the paper. So the killer killed him for nothing? Pretty much. Yeah, that was my takeaway. Nick is still going to let us get his last wish. I know it doesn't make this right, but that's the one thing we can still give him now. Finn is right. That has to count for something. So, what do we tell the others? Nothing, yet. They can't know I'm out, and I want to keep that last clause as an ace up our sleeve. I'm all for giving the killer some bad news when they're the least expecting it. Maybe it'll scare them into the open. And for now, we should get to the scene of the crime and dig up whatever evidence we can. That's where we're going to cinch this thing. I just know it. I'm game, but you should know that when we left, everyone else was downstairs, debating what to do with you. Ominous, but intriguing. Anyone want to eavesdrop? The killer might let something slip if they think they've neatly pinned all of this on Finn. I got an earpiece we can share, and I like the idea of getting any extra intel. Listen, John has the earpiece, so you can pick all three, though. Also, hold on, let me see the final one. It's too risky. Nah, screw that. Go with John. John, come with me. Let's see if there's anything those 5 don't want us to hear. Roger that. Then I can go back to the group and try to get them talking. And we can help you steer the conversation with these. John pulls several small earpieces from a jacket pocket and passes them out to all of you. Good call. We'll feed you some topics to steer them towards. But don't feel like you have to repeat everything word for word, Dante. Just work it naturally. No problem. Improv is what I do best. Just remember that we're trying to find out who knows what, who stood to lose from Nick selling off his shares, and what they plan on doing next. Finding someone else's motivation is the essence of drama. I've got this. Dante gives you all a salute and heads downstairs. You two be careful, too, alright? I'm always careful. I know, I just don't underestimate those people. We won't. We'll be back before you know it. And with that, you and John sneak downstairs. Sounds like everyone's in the living room. If we want to listen in and get a peek, we should be able to see a bit from the kitchen. You duck into the kitchen, carefully peer towards the nearby living room just as a voice crackles over your earpiece. Took you long enough. Where'd Farrah go? This whole thing with Finn hit her pretty hard. She's in her room lying down. Serves her right for getting fooled by that murder nerd. Should I be offended by murder nerd? I'm more offended by the part where they all think you're a literal murderer. Fair. What do we want Dante to ask them about? You tap your earpiece and whisper into it. Dante, ask how they feel about locking me up. Copy that. You don't have to literally say copy that, dude. Do we really think locking Finn up was the right move? What other choice did we have? And least we forget, Finn was the first one to suggest putting someone else on house arrest after she killed Madonna. I still think it's a little extreme. Isn't there a less isolating alternative? Oh, come on. It's not like we locked her in a basement. Nick has a nice office. Some people's whole houses aren't as nice as that office. I still don't like it. But maybe that just means Finn really had me fooled. She had all of us fooled, babe. I don't like either of you, I'm just serious. Sounds like not everyone is as confident that I'm a murderer as Crystal is. That's something. Agreed. With the right evidence, we might be able to change their minds, but we should keep the conversation moving, see what theories they have. Okay, Dante, try this. Ask them... why they think I did it, or how I could have known about the money. Too much speculation. Let's go with what their assumption is versus speculation. I mean, they're both speculative, but less on one end. What I can't figure out is why Finn would hurt Madani, let alone Nick. What was the motive? Nick always loved Finn. If they had issues, he never told me. Maybe it was about Nick's money. Finn could have been counting on that payout from his will. That's, complicated, though. Everyone turns to stare at Liz. Oh, did we not cover this? Nick was trying to get rid of all of his money, giving up the mansions, his position, his whoosh, everything. Why are you only telling me this now? Oh, Liz. I'm sorry, Ange. I was under a literal NDA, which I guess is moot now, considering the murder. Yeah, but even though you were under an NDA, isn't moot because of the murder. It's still an NDA. You can't discuss anything. Literally, I've signed NDAs on games that I've worked on, and yeah, I still can't discuss any and everything that involved that game. Nick only looped me in so I could help him with the paperwork. I don't think anyone else knew what he was planning. That's not true. I knew. You and John stared at each other in shock. Steve knew? How? Thankfully, you aren't the only one with that question. Wait, he told you? Why is that a surprise? He wanted to test the waters, see what I thought about the idea. I told him it was insane, obviously, but he didn't care. He wouldn't even agree to sell me his Whoosh shares. Said I had enough already. Finn mentioned it to me a few days ago, but that was the first I'd heard. So I'm the only person who still didn't know that what my dead ex-boyfriend was planning? I mean, he didn't know that we know that you were screwing Liz, so... Wonderful. Neither did I, but Finn was Nick's best friend. I bet Nick told her too. Why would that matter, though? Finn is some sort of superstar rider, right? What's a few extra bucks to someone like that? Most riders aren't as rich as you think, unless they make some kind of big rights deals or something. Yeah, like JK or, Stephen King or... See, there you go. Money's always the motive. Hey, don't go acting like you're the expert on mystery tropes. Apparently he had an inside scoop on Nick's plans, though. That's news. I wonder when Nick told him. Okay, so it does give Steve a stronger motive because the more shares he controls, the more money he also owns, the more of Whoosh he controls. Yeah. Agreed. Over the earpiece, you hear Dante steering the conversation towards less contentious grounds. I guess when the authorities get here this afternoon, it'll be out of our hands. We just have to make it until then. God, I can't wait to get out of this place. Ditto, I'm taking a long vacation somewhere dry and warm, where no one will try to murder me. I can come with you if you want, but I can't promise you'll stay dry, if you know what I mean. Okay, now I'm regretting the earpieces. Sometimes good intel comes at a price, Finn. Back in the living room, Crystal breezes past Steve's blatant innuendo. What about you, Pete? I'm gonna be busy trying to pick this company up from the ground. I doubt I'll have time for a break anytime soon. And I guess I'll be moving on to a new job. I got something lined up. Already? Jeez. Liz, Nick isn't even buried yet. I got an offer before all the murder and mayhem, okay? But I don't know if they're ready for me to start yet. Rent might be touch and go for the next few months.
Oh, what's rent?
Oh, God. The musical? Indina Menzel? Not ringing any bells? Oh, wow. Somehow that being Pete's first thought is worse.
Yeah, you can file that under reasons. I've never loved most of Nick's friends. Which, to be fair, was always a long list.
That's not the kind of rent I... Don't worry about it, hon. You can stay with me for a while. I still own a penthouse in Beverly Hills. Oh, you're inviting me to live with you? Oh, how sweet. This is the first positive energy I've felt all day.
Liz audibly sniffles and Angelina squeezes her arm.
Yes, I'm inviting you to live with me. Let me grab you a tissue from the kitchen.
Did she just say kitchen? Yeah, no, she did.
Yep, we gotta move.
He spot the door to the freezer.
Not in there. Not with Nick and Madani.
When you see a smaller door, which, if this building was designed with any architectural logic whatsoever, should lead to a pantry.
In here.
Yeah, what happens if there's boxes of tissue in there and they're all out of the kitchen? You grab John and tug him into the pantry just as Angelina's footsteps enter the kitchen. The small room is full of shelves, bins, boxes. You're pressed close together, barely daring to breathe as you hear her draw closer.
Here we go. Okay, let's...
John's face is inches from yours in the low light as you hold each other's gaze. Why not? You lean in and murmur to him.
Kiss me.
Here. Now.
Yes.
With that confirmation, as he pulls you close, pressing his lips to yours. When you let out a soft groan, John deepens the kiss, nipping softly at your lower lip. You barely manage to stifle a gasp as outside Angelina's footsteps pause.
You know what? Let me grab a couple of these, too.
Then she keeps walking, her footsteps heading out of the kitchen. You and John collapse against each other in relief. If this was her idea of a cover story, I don't think it would have explained why you were in here instead of Nick's office.
I know. I just wanted to seize the moment.
John lets out a soft chuckle, his gaze gently sweeping over your features in a low light. Believe me, I'm not mad that you did.
Now, let's get out of here before I accidentally sneeze.
You and John carefully tiptoe out of the pantry just as you catch more conversation over the earpieces. Finally, some snacks. Did you grab any of Nick's gold-sprinkled popcorn?
No, and this isn't for you. I'm going to take some food up to Finn.
Your heart sinks in your chest.
I don't know if she did murder Nick, but she still saved Liz and me yesterday. I don't want to just leave her in there starving.
You're more generous than I would be.
Crap.
We've gotta move. This is where you spring out in the living room and go, surprise! You and John make your way out of the kitchen and back towards the stairs as quickly and quietly as possible. The second Angelina gets to the office, she's going to see the doors busted open. How do you want to play this?
We have got to get to the conference room, and we better hope that something in there convinces everyone I'm not the killer.
No, I still agree with my plan. We jump out and go, surprise! Anyway, first and foremost, thank you all for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description. Plenty of links and whatnot, and ways to support, and the whole 9 yards. Just consider checking it out. There's also the join and thanks feature that's on the channel. With that being said, yeah, been doing a lot of work. Clearly been, 1, catching up, which I did. And then also, 2, I've been covering a lot of Romance Club. Feel free to check that out. Really like their app and their games, and things on that. Really, you can't go wrong reading their stories. They're 1, lengthy, 2, well-detailed, 3, a lot of unique animated art, a lot of really great storytelling and whatnot. They actually proofread. I know, it's a shocker. And then, yeah, no, I've just really enjoyed covering their stuff. Aside from that, so Farah and Dante are still on the shit list. Anyway, so now
let's just say Farah and Dante are on the up and up, right? And John clearly on the up and up. So, who do you think it is? Could it be one? Could it be two? I refuse to tell you. I'm sorry. A lot of you have been asking my opinion on this the whole time, and I'm keeping that really close to my chest. Keeping it really close to my chest. I've kind of left the tiniest of breadcrumbs to these videos with some of my commentary. So those of you who have actually got to the end of the videos, you might be cued in to who and what I suspect. Those of you who only watch a short amount and then bounce or whatnot, you don't know shit. So, I'm sorry, but I leave little tiny breadcrumbs throughout the videos. So if you are observant enough and keen of hearing, then you probably know who I suspect it is. This is the greatest mystery of all. Not this book, but what does Locum think? Without further ado, thanks for tuning in. Catch y'all later. Peace out.